What's up, everyone? But welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most practical things every Linux administrator should know, and that's how to gather system information. So we're going to be doing this by using a couple of commands. So if you're troubleshooting performance, you're checking disk space, or just trying to understand what's going on underneath the hood, these commands are going to be basically your go-to. So we're going to cover commands like top, uname, free, df, and du for disk usage. Some cool tricks for checking user activity. All right, so we're going to do some system overview with uname. We're going to start off with the uname command. You do uname. It's going to tell us that we're on a Linux machine. So we can also do the option uname-a. This is going to give you your kernel name, version, and system architecture. The -a is for means all information. So let's break down the first line. So the line is going to be this line right here the first word is Linux. Obviously, we're in a Linux machine. Localhost dot local domain. That's giving us the host name. Then 5.14.0-631 and those other numbers. That's the kernel version and build. And then x86_64 is our system architecture. And then we have some date and time, some information like that. All right, now if you want a shortened version of this, we can do uname-r. This is just going to give you the kernel release, or we can do uname-m for the machine architecture only. Let's clear the screen. So yeah, these quick flags are going to help you check for, version compatibility or kernel specific updates. All right, so next up, we're going to use the top command. This is a very powerful command. So the top command is going to show you a live view of what your system is doing. So that's CPU, memory, usage, and active processes. So you can see that you can see the screen is actively moving and the system is adjusting the CPU, how much a process is using for CPU information, et cetera, et cetera. So let's break down what's going on here on the screen. So all the way at the very top, you're going to see uptime 21:30:16 is the time, and you're going to see 24 minutes. That's how long the system's been running. The users, how many users are logged in, that's right next to that. And then right next to that, load average is going to show you the CPU load over the past 1, 5, and 15 minutes. Below that, you've got tasks, which are your total processes and how many are running, sleeping, or stopped. Percentage CPUs, it's going to be CPU usage breakdown by user, system, idle, etc. KIB, mem, and swap is going to be your memory and swap usage in real time. And then the table below that is going to list each process with columns like PID. That's going to give you the process ID. Anytime you run a command or you run any type of process or anything like that, it's going to be logged with a process ID. This is how the system understands. It's how the system communicates and understands the commands and processes that are running. So user, that's going to be the owner of the process right next to it. CPU and mem, how much resources it's using, and then the command, the actual program name. And to stop this, we can do Q for quit. And if you want, let's clear the screen real quick. If you want just a one-time snapshot, you could do top-N1 for just a quick snapshot of the information. There's also another command that I do not currently have installed. That's htop, which gives you a more colorful and interactive version. All right, so now moving on. Now we're going to talk about memory. So the memory command is going to be FREE for free. It's the free command to check your memory. So there's a whole bunch of numbers on the screen. Now, if we want to make these numbers a little bit more human readable, we're going to do free-h. So instead of bytes, it give you a big number. That's the numbers that were on the screen were for bytes. Now you're going to see megabytes or gigabytes. So now you see on my screen, we have gigabytes, 5.4 gigabytes. 5.8 gigabytes. So the columns showing here is going to be your total memory installed. See here, I got 5.4 gigabytes for memory, 5.8 gigabytes for swap. Use is going to be currently in use. Free is going to be the unused memory. And the buff/cache is going to be memory Linux used for caching files. And available is going to be how much is actually free for applications. So remember, Linux likes to use free RAM as cache. So a high use number doesn't always mean you're out of memory. So for a snapshot over time, we're going to do vmstat command 1.5. This is going to give us the information over time. So that runs 5 updates every second, showing CPU and memory trends. And of course, you can use other services to give you a better a better overlook of what's going on with your CPU and stuff. But moving on. So now we are going to look at disk usage with DF. DF, same thing, gives you the megabytes, clear the screen to get a more human readable version of it. So DF minus H for human readable. And now this gives it to us in megabytes and gigabytes. So you'll get columns like file system, size, use, available, and use, and mounted on. Same thing like the other commands, going to be the total size of the partition. Excuse me, sorry. First things first. The file systems to the left. This is gonna be the device name or partition, like dev SDA1. You'll see something like that. So the size, the total of this partition, use, how much space is used, available, how much space is left, and use percentage is the percentage used, and then mounted on, that's where it's attached in the file system. So the slash directory, also called the root file system, is the most important line. So this is going to be where the core of your operating system lives. Other lines are going to show things like slash boot, slash home, slash var, depending on how your disk is partitioned. So the slash boot, really quickly, just quick information. The slash boot is going to store kernel files. Slash home is going to hold your directories, your user directory, excuse me. And slash var is going to hold logs and temporary data. If use percentage is close to 100% on the slash directory, your system is probably going to stop writing logs and it's going to crash sooner or later. So it's a key metric to monitor. So when you know your drive is full, I'm gonna show you another command to use. Check for disk usage, which is going to be the du command. So you want to check what exactly is taking up the most space. So we're going to do du dash sh. S is going to be summarizes each directory instead of just listing everything. And the H again is going to make it human readable. We're going to do slash directory and the asterisk. All right, that gave us a bunch of information. But this is essentially going to give us which is going to show us which folder is using the most amount of space. So instead, let's do a smaller version so we can get the most used in, let's say, the slash var directory. Sort dash HR, had to get the top 10. And then we see how much each directory is taking up for the space here at the bottom. It shows us the top 10 biggest directories that are taking up the most space. All right, so now we're going to look at monitor users and logins. So to look at this, we are going to look at the who command. This is going to show us each logged in user, their terminal, and then the login time. If you want more detail, we can do the W command. Sorry. Yep. Clear the screen. The W command is going to give a larger set of information. This is going to show you who's logged in, what process they're running. It's basically like who, but with just more information on top of it. Now, another command users, just going to give you a quick list of all usernames currently active. And if you want historical information, you can use the last command. It's going to show you the people logged in and their history, all that information that you see on the screen right here. All right, just a couple of bonus commands. We have the uptime command, which is going to show you system uptime and load averages. Hostname CTL is going to give you detailed system and operating system information. You can also use this command to change your hostname. LSBLK command is going to give you your block devices like your partitions and your disks. And then the LSCPU command is going to summarize your CPU architecture, cores, and caches. And then last but not least, LSHW is going to give you hardware information. And that's how you gather system information like a pro in Linux. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more Linux and cybersecurity content. Drop a comment telling me what other commands you'd like me to cover next. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.